Hey everyone, I plan to put a lot of editing in this video, but to get it out in time, I have to forego the editing. Hopefully, the next time I release a similar video, I'll have enough time to edit it, and maybe I'll remake this video in the future. I hope everyone still enjoys this video, and let's continue on to it. Boss Rush is an event that features 5 different stages that each contain 3 bosses per stage and 1 boss per room with a total of 3 rooms. The bosses in each stage are 6-star evolved, meaning they have higher stats as well as killer effects that allow them to do extra damage based on your character's affinity. Unlike regular stages, but similarly to extreme co-op stages, characters that have attribute advantage against the corresponding stage deal 100% more damage as opposed to 50% more damage. The ×2 attribute advantage works differently than an extreme co-op, as extreme co-op essentially doubles your character's stats, but it follows the same sense that your character will be doing a lot more damage during these boss rush stages than normal. Because of the increase of damage, this means you can get by with lower end accessories to complete the boss rush stage in orders. Now, to begin with boss rush, we have to of course build a proper team to deal with the bosses in the most efficient and effective way. There are several ways you can approach building a proper team, and it all depends on your character pool. 2 team compositions that are very good would be 2 main damage dealers, a boss killer, more information on those 2 later, or a main damage dealer, a tank to soak up damage, and again, another boss killer. 2 recurring units, as you can already see, are damage dealers and boss killers. Damage dealers can be separated into 2 categories, those being nukers and consistent DPS, damage per second for those of you who don't know. Consistent DPS characters come in the form of some of the most popular characters, with those being any Kenpachi, aside from White Day Kenpachi, fully holified Ichigo, the Lost Agent Uryu, or mostly any form of NAD or normal attack damage based characters. Usually, consistent DPS characters have a streamlined damage they deal that is usually quite high due to only having to wait a moment in between their normal attack strings. Nukers, or frenzy skill characters, are characters whose strong attacks can deal an insane amount of damage in a short time, but the drawback is having their highest damage dealing potential stuck on cooldowns of 8, 16, and 24 seconds for most characters. Characters that have innate CDR, also known as cooldown reduction, have about 7, 14, and 21 seconds on their strong attacks. Now, with damage dealers out of the way, we can look on to boss killers. Boss killers are known as characters that are able to deal with bosses in the most efficient way by dealing the highest damage possible in the least amount of time. Boss killers, like damage dealers, can also be separated into 2 categories, with those being status affliction and nukers. Status affliction characters either poison or burn enemies to whittle away their HP to an amount that should be easy to finish off the boss with a few normal attacks. I'm not including paralysis or freeze status affliction characters, as they're more along the lines of pseudo boss killers, seeing as how their main purpose is just to disable the boss's actions long enough so your main damage dealer can whittle down the HP of the boss. Weakness is another pseudo boss killing status affliction, but again, it works along the lines of paralysis and freeze, except it increases damage dealt and reduces damage taken. I don't usually recommend pseudo boss killers, as unless your main damage dealer has incredibly high damage, you won't get the most value out of their special. Examples of burn or poison boss killers would be Gin, mind/orange attribute, Genryusai, heart/purple attribute, Yukio, speed/blue attribute, Love, technique/green attribute, and Uryu, power/red attribute, also known as the Lost Agent version. These are just examples of poison or burn boss killers, so there's a limited list, but you'll find more characters in your inventory that could potentially be boss killers. For more information, I direct you towards Bleach FYI, hosted by Captain MZ. On to nuking boss killers. Some of these boss killers will actually surprise you. If you already know what a nuking boss killer is, you're probably thinking of someone along the lines of Hogyuku Fused Aizen, maybe Lost Agent Rukyo, or perhaps even the mind/orange attribute Toshiro, also known as Bankai Toshiro. These characters have bombardment as their skills when they evolve to 6-star. Bombardment is a skill that doubles the amount of hits that your special does, essentially giving a ×2 damage buff to the base damage. This means a bombardment character can far surpass a status affliction boss killer, as they heavily benefit from a Tenshintai, an accessory that increases special damage up to 100%, essentially being another ×2 buff for the base damage. To go slightly beyond that, there are some characters that may not have bombardment, but can still reach a higher damage potential than some nuking boss killers. Everyone remember how trash the power/red attribute Ichigo was? His moveset is horrible with slow normal attacks as well as horrendous range of both his normal and strong attacks. But little do people know that Ichigo can do some insane damage with this special. The base damage, with no links or accessories, being 3000 damage per hit with only attribute advantage. While this may not seem all that impressive, his 6-star attack and spiritual pressure are are a measly 503 attack and 469 spiritual pressure. Now if we take into account Ichigo's bombardment, this means he's doing about 6k damage per hit with a total of 3 hits. Now, already we're looking at 18k damage with the character with no links or accessories. Pretty insane, right? Note that the base damage with attribute advantage was taken without the extra 50% damage Ichigo deals in a boss rush stage, in which case the base damage would be around 27k total damage. While these numbers may seem impressive for how outdated Ichigo is, to become a nuka that's more effective than a burn/poison boss killer does require a bit more setup. With the double 10 Shintai and a focus on spiritual pressure, Ichigo should be able to 3-shot a captain in the boss rush without attribute advantage. Enough about boss killers though, it's time to move on to the tanks as earlier mentioned. Tanks are a popular category of units in MMOs and other games. Their main role is to take up damage and create space. In terms of Bleach Brave Souls, tanks are units that don't deal too much damage but can take a beating harder than Ida's Heart. For boss rush, mostly any unit with attribute advantage can be a tank as long as they have 2 chappies with a major focus on increasing stamina, with their character links being damage reduction ranging from 48% to 72% depending on the character chosen. As for a tank's role in boss rush, they serve to soak up the damage that a boss's special would do to your characters, essentially eating the boss's special. While there is no downside to losing a character in boss rush to complete the quest orders, if a character is able to survive one special, that means they can take a second hit and nearly guarantee that you can finish the final boss with the least worries of having to sacrifice too many party members. After you've chosen your characters, you'll need to equip them with proper accessories to deal with bosses. Since every player has a different scenario when it comes to accessories, the 3 categories I recommend are focusing on attack, spiritual pressure, and stamina, depending on your units chosen. For the dual DPS team mentioned earlier, you'll want to focus on attack and spiritual pressure, while a single DPS and tank team would require attack and stamina. For the dual DPS team, have your nuker character stack with as much spiritual pressure as you can and give them full strong attack damage links. Do not give them a frenzy event Byakuya as a link, more information on that later. For your consistent DPS character, you're going to want to focus on increasing attack as much as possible, as well as give them full normal attack damage links. Your nuker should be your lead, and you should focus on dealing as much damage as possible to bosses, and your consistent DPS character should finish them off. Basically, your nuker throws shit all over the place while your second unit cleans that shit up. On to single DPS teams. Like the consistent DPS in a dual DPS team, you're going to want to focus on increasing attack as well as using normal attack damage links. For your tank unit, as mentioned earlier, you'll want to focus on stamina and damage reduction. If you're using a poison/boss killer as your third unit, you might want to use the single DPS setup as it can be safer if you're a bit newer to the game. Otherwise, the dual DPS team, if your boss killer cannot do enough damage to kill the boss before they use their special, will struggle and you will have to sacrifice 1 or 2 units to get that 130 clear time. Now that you have a good idea on how to build your team with proper characters and accessories, we can move on to a few techniques that you can use to boost the efficiency of your runs. One technique that I use often, not only in boss rush, but in both single player and co-op, is what I'd like to call the poke and run strategy. This isn't necessarily a hard concept to understand, but you simply press attack and then dash mid animation. You may find that the boss might be too difficult to take care of when you try attacking them with the full normal attack string, in which case poking and running would be an effective way to stay safe and still be able to do some damage. Some bosses may have strong attacks that are difficult to avoid, or the normal attack string may be difficult to evade, so you might get hit once or several times. This second technique is more of an exploitation of the quest continue function. If you close out a Brave Souls on your device and reopen it, you will resume at the start of the last room you made it to. This means if you clear room 1 and all 3 characters are alive, even if a character dies in room 2, by restarting the app, you will resume from room 2 with all 3 characters intact. This second technique can be used not only to restart a room if a character died unexpectedly, but to also reset the cooldowns on your strong attacks so that your nuke DPS character is able to deal an insane amount of burst damage against multiple bosses. This is an exploit, but many people do use this tactic, so there's really no worry if anything bad will happen to your account. This is my first time attempting to create a video of this sort. Normally I hate writing or typing, but when I started typing the script, I just could not stop, and it was pretty fun. If you find that I may have missed some keynotes, or if you have a suggestion on how to help players with boss rush stages more effectively, do leave a comment below. I'm interested in seeing other people's perspectives. If you enjoyed this type of video, also suggest down below another topic you'd like me to focus next time, and I might make a video on it. Drop a like if you think this video was good enough for your pleb-ass tastes, and subscribe if you want to see more content in the future. Hitting that bell icon will let you know immediately when I upload my next video. Not that I'll probably upload for the next month since my schedule is not the best. If you'd like to see me play Brave Souls live, you can go to my Twitch channel linked below. I try to stream every day, but sometimes things get in the way and I'm not able to. If you'd like to talk to me when I'm not streaming or haven't uploaded in a while, you can join my Discord linked in the description. Anyways, I want to thank everyone for watching this video. I've been TryToTree, and I'll see everyone in the next video.